am the most overrated and It's embarrassing and it's terrifying to put the target on your forehead, and it sets you up for all sorts of attacks and armies of brown shirts and bots and worse. And currently, I am the most berated actress who likes football of my generation.
Has any celebrity ever gotten under Trump's skin the way Meryl Streep did with a single speech? When Hollywood royalty called out the soon-to-be president for mocking a disabled reporter, Trump's reaction told us everything we needed to know about who really held the power. While Streep never even mentioned his name, Trump immediately knew the shoe fit and threw a complete tantrum. It's like watching a schoolyard bully finally get called out by the most popular kid in class, and his only comeback was basically, "Nuh-uh, you're overrated." Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. It's hilarious to think about, but there was actually a time when Donald Trump couldn't stop gushing about Meryl Streep. Yeah, the same Meryl Streep he would later call overrated, despite her record-breaking 21 Oscar nominations that make her arguably the greatest actress of all time.
But there was one performance this year that stunned me. It sank its hooks in my heart. Not because it was good. There was nothing good about it. It was that moment when the person asking to sit in the most respected seat in our country imitated a disabled reporter. It kind of broke my heart when I saw it, and I still can't get it out of my head because it wasn't in a movie. It was real life. Disrespect invites disrespect. Violence incites violence. When the powerful use their position to bully others, we all lose.
Talk about an awkward celebrity relationship status. It's complicated. Before their public feud, Trump was practically a Meryl Streep fanboy. In interviews, he openly called her excellent and expressed genuine admiration for her work. This wasn't just casual praise either. Trump seemed to actually respect Streep's talent and status in Hollywood. But that warm, fuzzy feeling disappeared faster than his tax returns when she decided to criticize him at the 2017 Golden Globes. The contrast between these two couldn't be more stark. On one side, you have Streep, a woman who earned her fame through decades of transformative performances, meticulous character work, and genuine artistic talent. On the other side, there's Trump, a real estate heir who became a reality TV star by pointing at people and saying, "You're fired," with all the subtlety of a foghorn. One earned their status through skill, the other bought his way in and demanded attention. What makes this clash particularly fascinating is how it reveals Trump's complicated relationship with celebrities. For years, he desperately sought validation from the Hollywood crowd.
If his catastrophic instinct to retaliate doesn't lead us to nuclear winter, we will have much to thank this president for. The only way you can do it is to feel you have to. You have to. You don't have an option. You have to. Stand up, speak up, act up. His whisperers will have alerted us to the potential flaws in our balance of power in government.
He'd make cameos in movies, hang around celebrity events, and name-drop famous acquaintances any chance he got. Yet simultaneously, he would rail against Hollywood elites to his base. It's like the kid who can't sit at the cool table, so he pretends he never wanted to anyway. Except this kid somehow became president. Trump's double game became crystal clear in his reaction to Streep. When she praised him, she's excellent. When she criticized him, suddenly she's overrated. His flip-flopping wasn't just hypocritical, it exposed a deep insecurity. Getting validation from someone with genuine talent meant something to him, and losing it stung badly enough to trigger a public tantrum. The timing couldn't have been more perfect for a showdown. The 2017 Golden Globes came during an intensely charged political atmosphere following Trump's election. Hollywood was processing what his presidency might mean, particularly for the marginalized groups many entertainers consider themselves allies to. The award ceremony wasn't just about celebrating film anymore. It had transformed into a platform where cultural tensions were playing out in real time. And who better to deliver that message than Meryl Streep? The Golden Globe stage became the perfect battleground for this clash. The Cecil B. DeMille Award gave Streep not just a microphone, but a moment where all eyes were on her, a platform that even a president-elect couldn't ignore. Trump may have had the nuclear codes, but Streep had something possibly more powerful in that moment: moral authority and the attention of millions. What's fascinating about Trump's response is how it revealed his priorities.
And this instinct to humiliate, when it's modeled by someone in the public platform, by someone powerful, it filters down into everybody's life. But it was effective and it did its job. It made its intended audience laugh and show their teeth. We need the principled press to hold power to account, to call them on the carpet for every outrage. So I only ask the famously well-heeled Hollywood foreign press and all of us in our community to join me in supporting the Committee to Protect Journalists.
While preparing to assume what's arguably the most demanding job on the planet, he found time to engage in a public spat with an actress. The president-elect of the United States, with access to intelligence briefings and world leaders, diverted his attention to tweet about a speech at an awards show. Nothing says presidential priorities quite like that. The Golden Globe stage became the unexpected arena where America's political and cultural tensions would play out. As viewers tuned in expecting the usual parade of tearful thank yous and designer dress commentary, they instead witnessed a masterclass in speaking truth to power. And Trump, predictably, couldn't handle it. Someone he secretly respected had the audacity to critique him in front of his peers. The very Hollywood crowd whose approval he had sought for decades. Trump's reaction confirmed what many suspected, that beneath the bluster was a profound insecurity, particularly when called out by someone with genuine accomplishments. His sensitivity to criticism from celebrities he actually respected revealed more about his character than perhaps any policy position. Here was a man about to lead the free world who couldn't handle critique from an actress without lashing out. As Trump raged behind his phone screen, Streep was preparing to demonstrate the true power of celebrity influence, not through angry tweets or name-calling, but through measured words that would cut deeper than any insult. What happens when one of Hollywood's most respected voices decides to use her acceptance speech to call out a bully without ever saying his name? The genius of Streep's Golden Globe speech wasn't what she said. It was how she said it. Instead of wasting her platform on the usual "I'd like to thank my agent" routine, she opted for something far more powerful. The room fell silent as she spoke. Her voice calm and deliberate. No shouting, no finger-pointing, no dramatics, just the quiet confidence of someone who knows exactly what they're doing. Think about it. Screaming at a bully just gives them more ammunition. Streep knew better. Her surgical precision made every word count.
How easily all of this can be ignored, and how the authority of the executive in the hands of a self-dealer can be wielded against the people, and how quaint notions of custom, honor, and duty compelled them to adhere to certain practices of transparency and responsibility. Punish and humiliate, delegitimize the press and all the imagined enemies with spasmodic regularity and easily provoked predictability.
She didn't need to throw a tantrum like some orange-tinted toddler we know. Instead, she delivered what might be the most elegant verbal beatdown in award show history. Disrespect invites disrespect. Violence incites violence. When the powerful use their position to bully others, we all lose, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, yet somehow filling the entire room. The camera panned across faces in the audience. Nicole Kidman, Ryan Gosling, Viola Davis, many with tears in their eyes or jaws literally hanging open. They weren't just watching another acceptance speech, they were witnessing a masterclass in how to speak truth to power. But here's the kicker. Throughout her entire speech, she never once mentioned Trump by name. Not once. She didn't need to. When she referenced The person asking to sit in the most respected seat in our country, who imitated a disabled reporter, everyone in that room and watching at home knew exactly who she was talking about. That's some next-level shade-throwing, folks. Why waste time naming names when you can just describe actions so specifically that everyone connects the dots? This wasn't just random celebrity blabber. Streep strategically focused on one specific incident that perfectly encapsulated everything wrong with Trump's character. By zeroing in on his mocking of a disabled reporter, something caught on video that he continued to deny, she hit him where it hurt. It wasn't a partisan attack, it was a human decency attack. Who can argue that mocking disabled people is okay? Nobody except maybe the guy who did it. The speech immediately went nuclear. Within hours, social media exploded, with clips spreading faster than Trump's hairpiece in a windstorm. Just Meryl Streep was trending worldwide, as was Shastos things Trump thinks are overrated. Late-night hosts were practically drooling with anticipation of the comedy gold they'd mine from this showdown. Even news anchors who typically maintained poker faces struggled to hide their reactions. What made Streep's takedown so effective was that she kept it focused on Trump's actions rather than diving into partisan politics. She didn't rant about Republicans or Democrats. She didn't even mention policies or politics. She simply held up a mirror to behavior that should be unacceptable regardless of political affiliation. It was like watching someone use a scalpel while everyone else was swinging sledgehammers. The true artistry of Streep's approach was how she framed everything around universal values: empathy, respect, decency. She wasn't just criticizing Trump, she was defending principles that most people, regardless of political leaning, claim to support. By taking this route, she made it nearly impossible for anyone to dismiss her as just another liberal Hollywood elite. Well, anyone except Trump, who never met a nuanced argument. He couldn't immediately reduce to fake news, in all caps. Some viewers at home might have been rolling their eyes at yet another celebrity using an awards show for political commentary. But Streep's delivery was so measured, so precise, that even skeptics had to acknowledge her effectiveness. No hysterics, no virtue signaling, just calm, collected words that landed like precision-guided missiles. The speech became a template for how to effectively criticize someone in power. Don't match their chaos with more chaos. Don't sink to name-calling. Instead, calmly state facts, appeal to shared values, and let your target's reaction prove your point. Streep didn't need to call Trump unstable or unhinged. She just needed to wait for his inevitable 3 a.m. Twitter meltdown to demonstrate it for her. Streep laid the trap, and Trump walked right into it like a moth to an orange flame. His middle-of-the-night Twitter meltdown didn't just make headlines, it exposed the paper-thin skin behind the tough guy facade. What kind of soon-to-be president spends the wee hours attacking an actress instead of, preparing to run the country? The timing couldn't have been more revealing. Within mere hours of Streep's speech, Trump's fingers were frantically tapping away at his phone. No waiting for morning staff meetings or thoughtful response planning, just pure, unfiltered rage unleashed while most Americans were fast asleep. This wasn't the measured response of a confident leader. This was a man who felt personally wounded, desperately trying to salvage his ego in real time. What makes Trump's reaction especially telling is how it perfectly followed his well-worn playbook. Step 1. Deny reality despite overwhelming evidence. In his Twitter rant, he flat-out claimed he never mocked disabled reporter Serge Kovaleski, despite video footage clearly showing otherwise. Step 2. Attack the messenger's credentials. Suddenly, Meryl Streep, whose talent he had previously praised, became one of the most overrated actresses in Hollywood. And step 3, play the perpetual victim, framing himself as unfairly targeted by Hollywood elites. The desperation really showed when Trump pulled out the "she doesn't even know me" defense, as if personal acquaintance was somehow relevant to whether mocking someone's disability is acceptable behavior. It's like saying, "Hey, I've never met that robbery victim, so how could I possibly have stolen their wallet?" The logic was so bizarre that it became an instant meme factory online. Within minutes of Trump's tweets, the internet did what it does best. Receipts were pulled. Social media exploded with side-by-side comparisons showing Trump's denial next to the actual footage of him mocking Kowalski. The evidence was so damning that no amount of spin could salvage it. Trump's media team probably needed industrial-strength antacids that morning, as hashtags trended and the video clips played on repeat across every platform. What Trump clearly failed to understand was that his reaction was doing exactly what Streep wanted, proving her point in spectacular fashion. She had criticized bullying behavior from a position of power, and his response was to bully her from his position of power. It was like watching someone accused of having anger issues respond by punching a wall and screaming, "I don't have anger issues." The irony would have been delicious if it weren't coming from the man about to get nuclear codes. The most revealing part of Trump's tantrum wasn't just what he said, but how quickly he said it. This wasn't a man who could let criticism roll off his back. This was someone who stayed up into the early morning hours, stewing over what a 67-year-old actress said about him at an awards show. If that doesn't scream insecurity, nothing does. Imagine being the most powerful man in America and still feeling threatened by an actress with an opinion. Trump's team scrambled to control the damage, but there's only so much you can do when your boss keeps making things worse with every tweet. The story transformed from a one-day headline about Streep's speech into a week-long examination of Trump's character, all because he couldn't resist hitting send on those tweets. What would have eventually faded from the news cycle instead became a defining moment that revealed his fundamental inability to handle criticism. The whole embarrassing episode exposed Trump's Achilles heel, his desperate need for approval from the very elite circles he publicly claims to despise. His reaction to Streep's speech wasn't just about defending himself. It was about being rejected by someone whose validation he secretly craved. Nothing triggers Trump more than being dismissed by the cultural elite he spent a lifetime trying to impress. By sunrise, what Streep had started with a calm, measured speech had been amplified 100-fold by Trump's inability to ignore it. She spoke about bullying without raising her voice. He responded by bullying her at 3 a.m. on Twitter. She expressed concern about the consequences of mockery from positions of power. He mocked her talent and called her names. If Streep had hired a team of psychological experts to design the perfect trap to expose Trump's character flaws, they couldn't have done better than simply letting him respond naturally. And this is why Meryl Streep's Golden Globes moment mattered so much. It created a ripple effect throughout Hollywood. Her speech gave courage to others who feared speaking out. Without screaming or name-calling, she showed that real influence comes from standing up for what's right, not from having the fanciest title or the most Twitter followers. Trump's meltdown revealed his biggest weakness. He falls apart when criticized by people whose approval he secretly craves. His 3 a.m. tweet storms just make him look smaller, while making his critics look even more dignified. Maybe we should all be a little more Meryl and a little less Donald, huh?